You're listening to the Broken Havoc podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications.
What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc here, right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here with episode 8 of News Shock, and where we discuss the latest news and rumors of pro wrestling. And I haven't done News Shock in the past 2 weeks. I haven't done an episode of News Shock for the past 2 weeks, mainly because of the fact that Revolution got in the way from me doing an episode of News Shock. But I'm coming to you guys with episode 8 of News Shock, and we got a lot of news to talk about regarding the world of pro wrestling. Of course, the top story being Cody Rhodes officially signing with WWE. This is a big deal, possibly the top story of pro wrestling in 2022. Of course, I got other stuff, the current plans for Cody Rhodes in the WWE. Of course, the rumored match that he's going to have at WrestleMania is going to be against Seth Rollins. And there's a lot of interesting things regarding Seth Rollins that are possibly going to happen on Raw leading into possibly the Cody Rhodes match at WrestleMania. We also got Steve Austin. The Steve Austin segment with Kevin Owens will officially be the quote-unquote main event. It's not a match, it's a talk show, but it's going to main event night 1 of WrestleMania. We got AEW Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing sets the largest non-WWE gate, that being a $1 million gate at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, so that is huge for them. I got my thoughts on that. Also, the Briscoes versus FTR is set for Supercard of Honor. Supercard of Honor, it is a pay-per-view that I'm definitely excited to see I'm really excited to see what happens on that show. I'm definitely really looking forward to that show, mainly because of the fact that this is going to be the first Ring of Honor show under the AEW umbrella. But we got other stuff right here on episode 8 of News Shock. But before I get on with News Shock, make sure to like and subscribe to the Broken Havoc podcast right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. So yeah, we got a lot of news to talk about. Of course, our top story is Cody Rhodes officially signing a WWE contract. He inked a deal with the Fed, and he is back to the E. All right, so we're going to be talking about Cody Rhodes. This is a big story, of course. We all know AEW and Cody Rhodes did not agree on a new contract. A lot of people were saying it was because of money. I genuinely do not believe it's because of money, mainly because of the fact that Cody Rhodes has enough money on his own. And not only that, he has a family to support. But we all know that Cody Rhodes has a big ego. And he really wanted to be the main event. He really wanted, to be spotlighted in AEW, and really that kind of took a halt, and that really took a hit when they brought in Danielson and Punk and Cole, and really AEW really focused more on CM Punk, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson, and less than Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes signing with WWE, what are my thoughts on that? Honestly, I'm not mad about it whatsoever. In fact, I'm actually happy that he's going to the WWE, mainly because of the fact that, at least, to me, Cody Rhodes going to the WWE, although a lot of people see it as a hypocritical thing, he has been talking crap about the WWE. He's been taking shots, I should say, not talking crap, but taking shots at the WWE in his promos. Like his last promo that he cut on Dynamite the week before the ladder match that he had with Sammy Guevara at Beach Break, he took a shot at the Gunther name change, and now all of a sudden he is signing with the WWE. I'll talk about that later on, but I'm going to read to you guys the report right here. Of course, the original source that stated that Cody Rhodes has inked a deal with the WWE was Mike Johnson of PW Insider. Per the report, this contract was signed 10 to 14 days ago and expected to appear on the Raw brand, which makes perfect sense, mainly because of the fact that they have been basically giving teasers of Cody Rhodes on Raw and not SmackDown. But Rhodes is rumored to have a WrestleMania match against Rollins. Rollins continues to desperately earn a spot at WrestleMania, but behind the scenes, WWE was reportedly holding out hope that they could get a done deal with Rhodes in time for WrestleMania, a WrestleMania program against Seth Rollins on WrestleMania. Monday night on Raw, Rollins lost the main event against Kevin Owens for his spot at WrestleMania 38 in Dallas. And yeah, that was the report. I'm reading this from Forbes, but the original source was PW Insider, that being Mike Johnson. Again, overall, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal because of the fact that Cody Rhodes was one of the EVPs for AEW. Of course, the EVPs were Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Cody Rhodes. And AEW just lost one of their EVPs. Now, is this a big, devastating blow for AEW? A lot of people can argue yes. I'm here to say, yes, it is, because Cody Rhodes is one of their big guys, but at the same time, it is a no. Mainly because of the fact that AEW really still has a stacked roster. They got CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega's out with injury. They got a stacked roster. They got a huge stacked roster, and they're building new guys. And not only that, they just had a pay-per-view a couple of weeks ago in which every single match on the card mattered, and it showcased the best of AEW's roster, that being Revolution, which happened in Orlando, Florida a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, that pay-per-view was by far AEW's best pay-per-view. Originally, I stated that All Out was their best pay-per-view, but Revolution hit top-notch. That pay-per-view definitely felt like a WrestleMania caliber card, and that pay-per-view did not have Cody Rhodes whatsoever. But my thoughts on Cody Rhodes coming to the WWE, look, I'm excited. I'm a fan of AEW through and through, but let's be honest, man. Look, a lot of people can talk crap about Cody Rhodes, a lot of people can talk crap about Cody Rhodes, really, just him being an egotistical person and all that stuff. But let's be straight up. Cody Rhodes, when AEW first started, you got to realize, remember when they put Cody Rhodes in that feud with Jericho for the world title, and they added that stipulation that Cody Rhodes, if he lost, he wasn't going to challenge for the world title again. I mean, Cody Rhodes, I feel like, and a lot of other people have stated this all over social media, and it's 100% factual, that, possibly Cody Rhodes was afraid that he was going to get a lot of flack, mainly because of the fact that he was one of the bookers. And, the people would create that narrative of, oh my God, he's booking himself to win and he's putting himself over rather than all the younger guys. But really, that wasn't the case. But really, when it comes to Cody Rhodes and all of the feuds that he was having, of course, he had the feud with MJF and all that other stuff. He held the TNT Championship 3 times. Of course, the first time he was the very first TNT champion. He had that memorable dog collar match with Brody Lee, which was Brody Lee's last match. And of course, he beat who was it? Who did he beat for the TNT Championship for the 3rd time? I think it was Sammy Guevara. Yep, it was Sammy Guevara on that episode of Rampage. I think it was Holiday Bash. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Cody Rhodes has had a decent run for himself in AEW. Do I think that he should have had a better role in AEW, especially in the later months leading to his departure from the company? Yeah, I do, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I mean, they were teasing, in my view, and you can watch those old Dynamite reviews that I have uploaded on my channel. I talked about how AEW and Cody Rhodes is setting up a heel turn for Cody Rhodes. That was definitely the case. That was 100% I felt like was definitely going to happen. But of course, we heard those reports right after when Cody Rhodes left AEW that he really did not want to turn heel. And honestly, I do not know why he didn't want to turn heel, mainly because of the fact that he was getting booed. And I mean, getting booed out of the building in events. And honestly, I was still a fan of Cody Rhodes. I was never one of those people that started booing Cody Rhodes. I felt like really he started to get that mixed reaction after the Anthony Ogogo match at Double or Nothing. Really, the Anthony Ogogo match last year at Double or Nothing was not good whatsoever. It was probably my least favorite match on that entire show. The show was fantastic, but really, that was honestly, I just did not care whatsoever. And Cody Rhodes kind of set himself into a corner in which, he couldn't challenge for the world title and all that stuff. I really thought AEW had him. And, of course, Cody Rhodes officially left. And now he is signed with the WWE. Now, what do I want to see Cody Rhodes do in the WWE? Of course, in the report, it has stated that he's going to be a part of the Raw brand, which makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that Cody Rhodes is going to be officially part of the Raw brand, mainly because of the fact that they have been teasing him on Raw and not SmackDown. And honestly, I feel like Raw is the best position for Cody Rhodes. Now, granted, SmackDown as a show sucks and Raw is a little bit better. But Raw, I feel like, to me, you really need to establish your main event scene. And I feel like it's starting to establish that main event scene. But at the same time, I mean, really, the world champion is Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns is guaranteed to hold both titles. Now, the titles are not officially unified, so I don't know why we would have a unification title match at WrestleMania, but in the near future, those titles are going to separate once again. And Cody Rhodes would be a fantastic catalyst to win the WWE Championship. But at the same time, a lot of people create that fear, or I shouldn't even say create. A lot of people are afraid that, WWE is bringing in Cody Rhodes just to bury him. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to squash that narrative. The reason why I say that, yes, WWE does bury guys and they do not know how to book a wrestling show. But for all the money that they're paying Cody Rhodes, guaranteed you, I feel like they're paying him a whole stack of money. They're paying him a shit ton of money. I don't think that they're going to ruin their investment just by burying him just because of the fact that he was an EVP. I think that's absolutely stupid, in my opinion. That'd be a terrible investment and a bad business move. I guarantee you they're going to push Cody Rhodes to the moon. A lot of people are afraid that, he's going to get pushed to the moon for the first 2 weeks and then fall by the wayside and become another guy, and which I definitely understand that. Hopefully that is not the case, but still, I'm holding out hope, and I'm literally holding out hope for a company that has disappointed me so many different times. But Cody Rhodes, I think he's going to have tremendous matches in the WWE. Of course, he's most likely going to have a match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, which by far is going to be, a show stealer. I think there are two matches that are going to be a show stealer at WrestleMania. Edge versus AJ Styles, and possibly, if it happens, which it most likely will, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future when it comes to Cody Rhodes. Of course, the current plan for Cody Rhodes to return is PW Insider reports that the current plan for Rhodes is for him to make a return to Raw after his big WrestleMania return, and this will be, of course, the primary brand that in which he returns. And again, it makes total sense for him to basically, come back to the Raw brand. And honestly, I won't be mad whatsoever. You have a lot of fans, right? And this is something that I have to get off my chest. You have a lot of fans primarily AEW fans, but the WWE fans are the same thing. They're AEW drones and WWE drones. Both of those fans are absolutely the most hypocritical, the dumbest, and the worst fans you could possibly see on social media. The AEW, the only AEW fans and the only WWE fans, like the AEW marks and the WWE marks, the drones on social media, both of them are equally as bad. I'm not going to take one side of the other, mainly because of the fact that I love both products. Now, granted, I do think the AEW product is much better, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, I hope the WWE goes out of business. No, because they're never going to go out of business. But these fans on social media immediately turn on Cody Rhodes. Like, these AEW fans are insane. They're like, ha ha ha, go fuck yourself, he's a traitor. And the same, the E-drones on social media did the same thing with Bryan Danielson. They did the same thing with Bryan Danielson. And I'm like, bro, these fans do not have any life whatsoever. These fans need to get lives, man. Like, I don't know what's wrong with these people, but like, literally, get a life, please. But yeah, man, again, I'm excited for Cody Rhodes to come into the WWE, and I honestly think he's going to do great things with the company. Hopefully, creative has something good for him. I hope. I have my fingers crossed. I have my fingers crossed right here. And if they do well, I will come here and say they did do well with Cody Rhodes. If they don't do well, I will come here on this show and say that they did not do well. But good on Cody Rhodes. That is his decision whatsoever. If he wants to go to WWE, he's going to the WWE and he's going to the Fed. But yeah, man, those are my thoughts on Cody Rhodes officially signing with WWE. In our next story, we have Steve Austin. His segment with Kevin Owens is slated to main event night 1 of WrestleMania. So, of course, the original plan for the main event of night 1 was going to be Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship, but right now that is not going to be the case. A Reddit user, yes, Reddit, by the name of Kermit125, who has previously broken multiple stories, has provided some insights for WWE WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. The KO Show segment with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin is set to conclude WrestleMania Saturday, which is Night 1, making it the night's main event. Austin has been training hard, and Jim Ross stated on his podcast that he expects Austin that will do more than just Stunner and a beer bash celebration. While this may not be a match, you certainly anticipate Austin to be more physical than usual. So, yeah. So what are my thoughts on this decision for Steve Austin and Kevin Owens? Their Kevin Owens show segment to main event night 1 of WrestleMania. I honestly think this is a good decision. The reason why I state that is because of the fact that, in my opinion, I think, I genuinely believe, the match with Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, that whole build for that match is absolutely lackluster and was absolutely terrible. I say that because of the fact that nobody absolutely cares. Nobody cares about Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. Absolutely nobody. WWE tries to bring you that intrigue and shock value of Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair, but really the shock value wasn't there whatsoever. In fact, I can go as far as to say Ronda Rousey absolutely did not care what the hell she was doing. The reason why I say that is because listen to her promos. If you listen to her promos on the past couple of weeks on SmackDown, Ronda Rousey is the babyface, and she sounds like she does not want to be there. And other people will tell you that, and it makes total sense. It makes total sense because, dude, every time when she is speaking on the mic, she is just speaking like a casual person. She is not bringing in an emotion. She's not bringing in enthusiasm to the promos. She's just speaking, and that's it. She's just there. That's the problem that I have with this match. And this whole match with Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, like, I don't want to compare this to Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss, because that's another crappy match that nobody wants to watch at WrestleMania. But, bro, nobody, and I mean nobody, cares about Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. This is by far the best decision for them to make. I think, the match itself will be great, but to main event night 1 of WrestleMania, for me, the buildup is not there whatsoever. For me, the buildup is not there whatsoever, and it makes total sense for them to have Steve Austin and the Kevin Owens show main event night 1. I would go as far as to say it would have been a much better decision if you had put something like an AJ Styles versus Edge, or you can have something like, Seth Rollins instantly coming out, and just, cutting a random promo at WrestleMania on night 1 and saying, oh, who the hell is going to issue the challenge for tomorrow night? And then all of a sudden Cody Rhodes comes out. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think this is the right decision for WWE to have Steve Austin and Kevin Owens main event the show. Granted, it's not a match, but at least, we have something interesting to close night 1 of WrestleMania leading in to the second night of this show. All right. WWE. Before I get on with that news story, I'm going extremely further. One thing I want to talk about is AEW Double or Nothing. Of course, AEW Double or Nothing is slated to take place at the T-Mobile Arena, not the MGM Grand, the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Double or Nothing has sold 12,939 tickets and has made a total gate of $1,145,000 thus far. There are only 585 tickets left to be sold, despite the event being well over 2 months away still. The previous record holder was New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor's joint show at Madison Square Garden that took place in April of 2019. The show reportedly brought in a gate of $1.1 million. The pay-per-view, which is set for May 29th, will be the first time that AEW has been to Las Vegas since their inaugural Double or Nothing event in May of 2019. The show was held at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, which had a reported attendance of 11,000. Following the May 29th show, AEW is set to hold 2 events in California for the first time ever. Meanwhile, in 2021, AEW's Grand Slam Dynamite from Arthur Ashe Stadium in Flushing, New York, set the record for the highest attended non-WWE event since January 4th, 1999. Of course, that was the episode of WCW Monday Nitro that took place in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. So, yeah, Double or Nothing sets the record for the largest North American non-WWE gate in history. Overall thoughts on that, you love to see it. You love to see it, and this is an example of AEW succeeding. Their product, in my opinion, AEW is the hottest product right now in wrestling, and to be quite honest with you, I'm really excited to see what happens at Double or Nothing, and I wasn't surprised whatsoever. Because of the fact that, look, AEW right now, I felt like they were on a tear. Like, throughout 2021, they were rolling, but right after Punk came, holy shit, they were on a roll. And the shows that they had were fantastic. I mean, like, just last week, they had St. Patrick's Day Slam, which had a fantastic steel cage match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker for the women's title. And not only that, they just had their Revolution pay-per-view 2 weeks prior. And Revolution was an amazing pay-per-view. And honestly, Double or Nothing is going to be a huge show. And honestly, right now, you love to see AEW succeed. If you honestly want AEW to fail, then I don't think you're a wrestling fan. That is just my opinion, mainly because of the fact that we finally have an alternative to watch. I don't even want to call it an alternative. We have something that can we have something that really rivals the WWE. And I honestly, this year, I expected Double or Nothing to take place at the MGM Grand, but no, they're actually going to the T-Mobile Arena, which is a larger arena. So that is great to see. All Out is rumored to take place at the United Center, which I think is the perfect decision for All Out. I don't think it should be at the Sears Center anymore. I think it's called the Now Arena now, but it shouldn't be at the Sears Center. It should be at the United Center, in my opinion, because All Out is by far their WrestleMania. That's their biggest show, in my opinion. And to be quite honest with you, All Out is going to be a big deal this year. But Double or Nothing, it's great to see Double or Nothing back in Las Vegas, and it's great to see that AEW is going all out, no pun intended, for this show, and the numbers show, and they hit their first ever $1 million gate. So you love to see AEW to succeed. I know I love to see AEW to succeed. Hopefully they can keep up that momentum. WWE knew that AEW is trying to buy footage from other independent companies. So for the past month, it's been quite significant time for AEW as a whole. Firstly, AEW president Tony Khan has purchased the entire Ring of Honor tape library, which is seen as a huge move. In addition to that, AEW is now in a working partnership with DDT Pro Wrestling. Andrew Zarian took to the Twitter and stated that WWE knew AEW was trying to buy footage from other wrestling promotions. And this is a quote from Andrew Zarian, and I quote, "When I spoke to someone at WWE 2 weeks ago, I was told that AEW was looking to secure footage rights from an international pro wrestling promotion. This would be a great start at building a library of content for a strong streaming platform," end quote. Overall, I definitely do see AEW trying to acquire other independent promotions and other, independent tape libraries. The Ring of Honor, people don't realize this, but them buying Ring of Honor is a big deal. In my opinion, it's definitely a big deal, mainly because of the fact that Ring of Honor has a lot of history, and a lot of guys on the current AEW roster right now came from Ring of Honor. Guys like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, who else? You had a lot of the year ones that came from Ring of Honor. Cody Rhodes was another one that came from Ring of Honor. Christopher Daniels, of course. Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson they were in a triple threat match with Loki at the very first Ring of Honor show, the Era of Honor begins. But, it's great to see that AEW is trying to build up their library, because if they didn't buy Ring of Honor, really, they did film a lot of content, but if you compare the WWE tape library to the AEW tape library, WWE has hell of a lot more tape libraries and, a lot more history than AEW. AEW has really created a really good little tape library for themselves, but at the same time, that's not enough. And especially because of the fact that they're going to shop for a potential streaming service, most likely it's going to be HBO Max. It made sense for them to buy Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor has a 20-year history. Ring of Honor has a 20-year history. I remember last year I would actually be advocating that they should buy Impact Wrestling. Hell, there were rumors of them possibly buying Impact Wrestling. I believe when AEW first started, there was a report that Anthem actually tried to sell Impact to AEW, but then AEW refused. But honestly, if they bought Impact, I wouldn't have a problem with it, mainly because of the fact that, again, Impact Wrestling has a 20-year history, and they have a lot of phenomenal matches from there. You got matches, hell, from guys like CM Punk, Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy made a big deal. He had 2 runs in TNA. He had memorable matches there. Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. You have a lot of matches in Impact Wrestling. If they had bought the Impact Wrestling tape library, I wouldn't be against that either. But when it comes to Ring of Honor, it made total sense for Tony Khan to buy Ring of Honor. And honestly, it was, out of the two, out of WWE and Tony Khan or AEW, it was best for Tony Khan to buy Ring of Honor, because if WWE had purchased Ring of Honor, that'd be another example of them trying to monopolize the industry. And just, if they had bought Ring of Honor, they would literally close down Ring of Honor as a whole, because they don't care about the history whatsoever. They don't care about the history of Ring of Honor, and they would just literally buy Ring of Honor and just put it on a section at Peacock, and that's it. The thing about them buying Ring of Honor is that they could possibly shop to maybe an HBO Max, which is the potential streaming service. Most likely, they're going to put their tape content and their pay-per-views on HBO Max, but they're going to still keep Ring of Honor alive, which leads to our next story. Of course, Tony Khan talks about relaunching Ring of Honor as a weekly TV show following the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view, which I will definitely be ordering. I never watched a Ring of Honor show in full. I would watch a couple of matches, but honestly, I never watched any Ring of Honor show or pay-per-view in full, but I would watch a couple of matches. But I was never the biggest follower of Ring of Honor, to be quite honest with you. But Tony Khan plans on relaunching Ring of Honor's weekly TV show following April's Supercard of Honor. During his weekly appearance on Busted Open Radio, the AEW head spoke about his plans for ROH's future. He noted that while Supercard of Honor goes head-to-head with Rampage on April 1st, he is still moving ahead with the pay-per-view. And I quote by Tony Khan, "I had not scheduled this pay-per-view, but I really think it's important for me because they have sold tickets and made a commitment to the fans to still do a show. I see it as a transitional show in many ways that I'm really excited about because it's the first show under new management. It's also a transitional show because I will relaunch what I hope will be a great new Ring of Honor television product, a weekly series wherever it does air or stream." Khan said that he won't be able to bring everyone he would like from AEW to work the show, but there is a way to utilize some members of the roster on their pay-per-view. Then, and I quote by Tony Khan, "There is a very cool way to use some of the great wrestlers in AEW who are going to be available and make this a great show," he explained. Khan said that he doesn't plan to use two promotions airing head-to-head on the same night in the future, however. End quote. Yeah, oh my God, my thing is buffering right now. Holy crap. Wow, man, it's buffering city right here on News Shock. But yeah, man, Tony Khan has a lot of plans when it comes to Ring of Honor. And honestly, him relaunching a Ring of Honor television show, weekly television show, is the perfect thing. Of course, we all knew that he was going to bring back Ring of Honor as a separate entity from AEW, and it makes total sense for him to do that. The reason why I say that is it makes total sense. And, coming from a guy like Tony Khan, Tony Khan is a guy that respects the history of Ring of Honor. And I think it's awesome for him to buy Ring of Honor and keep it alive. And, definitely it's going to be AEW's developmental territory, 100%. But again, a lot of people are saying that, potentially Ring of Honor could go on TNT or TBS. Honestly, I do not see that being the case. Mainly because, first off, Ring of Honor, in my opinion, I don't think is as big of a name as AEW to air on TNT or TBS. I would much rather have ROH, kind of how the WWE Network did with NXT when they aired it at 1 hour on Wednesdays on the WWE Network. Maybe you can have a 1 hour Ring of Honor weekly television show to air on HBO Max every week so fans can stream it, and then you can have your big pay-per-views before your AEW pay-per-views, like the night before, kind of like what TakeOver did with the Big Four in the WWE. So honestly, there's a lot of potential here when it comes to Ring of Honor, and I'm definitely excited to see what happens in the near future. So after that, Ring of Honor announces the Briscoes versus FTR at Supercard of Honor, which is going to take place on the Friday before WrestleMania Night 1, which I'm definitely excited. There's a lot of shows happening on that Friday. You got SmackDown, you got the Hall of Fame followed by that. You got Supercard of Honor. I believe GCW is also having a show. So like wrestling is going to be everywhere in Texas, everywhere in the Dallas area, I should say. Of course, every year during WrestleMania season, there's a lot of independent promotions that are really want to get that WrestleMania payday. I don't want to say payday by the WWE, but I'm saying, they really want to capitalize on the success of WrestleMania, which is great. You love to see it because, again, it's WrestleMania weekend, in my opinion, is a celebration of pro wrestling. So, yeah, but we got the Briscoes versus them boys, the Briscoes, which I don't know why, man. I remember watching the Briscoes at the GCW show and the promo segments that the Briscoes were cutting in build up to the World on GCW. Bro, I don't know why, but I slept on the Briscoes for so many years. I just do not know why. And I was literally kicking myself because of the fact that I literally slept on the Briscoes and completely ignored them for a long period of time. But the Briscoes are going to be facing FTR, and it makes total sense for them to face FTR, mainly because of the fact that they have been feuding for the past couple of months on social media. And they did brawl. I believe it was at Final Battle this past December. So yeah, man, it's great to see. I definitely do see this match being amazing. This match is going to be awesome. I believe also Bandito will be facing Jonathan Gresham. Bandito is the current Ring of Honor World Champion, and Jonathan Gresham is, I believe, the pure champion, or it's like the original. They're calling it the original Ring of Honor Championship. But I'm just going to call him the interim Ring of Honor Championship because there's two Ring of Honor World Champions, so they're going to do a title-for-title match at Supercard of Honor. Supercard of Honor is a pay-per-view that I will be ordering, so I'm going to be watching a lot of wrestling the night before WrestleMania. There's just a lot of stuff going on. You got SmackDown, Rampage, the Hall of Fame, and Supercard of Honor. I don't even know if I'm going to come to you guys with a SmackDown and Rampage review. That remains to be seen, but we'll have to wait in the near future. And finally, there's no buffering in the video, so I'm so happy about that because I was really scared. But in another story, we got Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, of course, we do not know when Kenny Omega is going to be coming back. His return to AEW is still unknown. But in a report by the Wrestling Observer, Kenny recently had arthroscopic knee surgery, and after 2.5 months of recovery, he will have another operation. That procedure will repair his sports hernia and is set for late this month. So it's going to take about in the report it stated it was going to take about 10 weeks. So hopefully Kenny Omega recovers on time, but really, Kenny Omega, deserves all the time off he gets, mainly because of the fact that the guy held the company on his back, as I stated earlier, and really is one of the big catalysts of AEW and the success of AEW. And honestly, when Kenny Omega comes back, it's going to be a big deal. So get well, Kenny Omega. Definitely, I think he should take his time 100%. Not only that, the best thing about AEW is the fact that, they have a lot of guys. You see a lot of other people talk. Like I was listening to JD from NY, and he made a great point. And this is what JD said, so don't quote me on this. But and I 100% agree. What he stated was, look, Kenny Omega not being on Dynamite is a good thing, mainly because of the fact that they have a lot of guys built up already, and you have a main event scene on AEW television. It's a problem for WWE, mainly because of the fact that Roman Reigns is the only top guy on the roster. Nobody on the WWE roster right now is at the level of a Roman Reigns. Nobody is at the level of a Roman Reigns, and if Roman Reigns ever got injured or he goes to Hollywood, who the hell is going to take Roman Reigns' spot? So, it's great. AEW right now is in a good position. And honestly, once Omega comes back, whenever that will be, and honestly, once Omega comes back, it's going to be a big deal, mainly because of the fact that he's most likely going to be feuding with Adam Cole. The match is imminent. Once Omega comes back, we're definitely getting a match between Omega and Adam Cole, bar none. But we're going to be talking about ratings, mainly because of the fact that, we haven't talked about ratings for a long period of time. So we're going to be talking about the ratings. Raw this past Monday drew 1.7 million viewers on the USA Network. This is down 4.22% from last week's 1.755 or 7755 million viewers. The first hour drew 1.6, then the second hour drew 1.7, and then it went up. Or actually, no, it didn't go up. The final hour drew 1.6, so it went back down. Monday's Raw drew a 0.48 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. This is up 6.66% from last week's 0.45 key rating demo. Raw ranked number 2 for the night on the cable top 150 after a 4-week run at number 1. Overall thoughts on Raw, really the only thing that was really interesting on Raw was Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Really, Seth Rollins, because we all thought Cody Rhodes was actually going to show up on Raw, but that wasn't going to be the case. They're definitely telling the story of Seth Rollins not having a WrestleMania opponent, and at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes is going to show up. But yeah, man, after that, aside from that, Raw was just kind of a dreadful show. I just really did not care about what happened on the show. Wednesday, AEW Dynamite drew 993,000 viewers and drew a 0.38 in the 18 to 49 demographic, according to Showbuzz Daily. This is up 5.1% from last week's rating for Dynamite, and Dynamite had the 5th best audience so far in the year 2022. Of course, overall, I thought Dynamite was a fantastic show. I thought Dynamite, of course, we had the main event with Thunder Rosa taking on Britt Baker for the AEW Women's World Championship inside of a steel cage. That was an awesome ass match, man. Probably one of the best matches, if not, I don't want to say the best match. If you compare the Thunder Rosa match to the Britt Baker match, honestly, the Thunder Rosa match with the match from last year, honestly, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, definitely they had the better match last year. I think that was match of the year last year. But overall, the steel cage match was phenomenal. We had the Hardy Boys come back and all that stuff. Dynamite was a really good show, as it is almost every week. But SmackDown and Rampage. SmackDown, the ratings are not out yet, same as Rampage. SmackDown and Rampage were both kind of generic shows. They were just there. SmackDown kind of really sucked. Really, the only thing interesting on SmackDown was Brock Lesnar and Pat McAfee. That's it. Rampage, of course, had Darby Allin take on The Butcher and Keith Lee take on Max Caster. But it was a good show. But if you were to compare it to other episodes of Rampage, definitely, other episodes of Rampage were much better than this episode of Rampage, in my opinion. All right. In this next segment, we're going to be talking about the match and promo of the week. There was a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but, my favorite match this week was definitely the steel cage match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. To be quite honest, I really enjoyed that match for what it was. It was a great match. Not only that, the storyline aspect of it, and not only that, it took place a year after they tore the house down at St. Patrick's Day Slam back in 2021 in that Lights Out match. So it was great to see Thunder Rosa win the AEW Women's Championship. And honestly, it was just a great match overall. Honestly, though, was it better than their first match? No, it wasn't. But if you compare this match to all the other matches that happened this week, to be quite honest with you, the steel cage match absolutely was awesome. The crowd in Texas was absolutely energetic for this match, and it's great to see Thunder Rosa to win the AEW Women's Championship. In the promo, my favorite promo segment of the week was definitely Edge's promo this past Monday on Raw. Of course, Edge debuted new music, and Edge, honestly, look, a lot of people say that, and I'm one of those people that, I do not like part-timers, being on top spots or, really taking the spots away from the younger guys. I do not like that. Edge is different. The reason why I say that is, look, Edge is a part-timer, but Edge is the same. I would compare Edge to Chris Jericho. The reason why I say I would compare him to Chris Jericho is because of the fact that they both have the ability to reinvent themselves for the times. And honestly, Edge reinventing himself in a brand new heel character is fantastic. I absolutely love his new theme song, and I love the promos that he has been cutting on Raw, and it really makes him stand out from the roster. And honestly, he's going to have a fantastic match with AJ Styles at WrestleMania. It's possibly going to be the show stealer. But yeah, that was my match and promo of the week. And this was Broken Havoc from the Broken Havoc podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Of course, we got my SmackDown review and Rampage review that's already up on the channel. We got other stuff that was on the channel. So if you guys haven't checked out those videos, check out those videos right here on the channel. And this is Broken Havoc from the Broken Havoc podcast. Signing out.